Welcome to Crafting Party of One with Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and you have reached Crafting Party of One. Today's featured beer is Warlock from Southern Tier Brewing Company. It's a fantastic pumpkin imperial stout. I highly recommend it, and it's pretty fitting as we are making coasters today using Warlock's 4-pack carrier. So, without further ado, let's get moving. First thing we're going to do is choose our paint colors. For this one, because the 6-pack carrier is purple and black, I've chosen to do like a marble of violet and metallic black, which adds it a little bit of sparkle. Kind of ends up looking like it's an outer space type theme, so we're going to go ahead and get that started. I'm just going to drip some black in my paint pan. You can pick up these paint pans at Michael's for $5.95 for 6 of them. Sometimes if you catch it at Christmas time, you can get more than that. I just have to watch their ads. They have great coupons. I got this Craft Smart brand paint at Michael's for 79 cents. I imagine I bought this at Michael's as well, but I got it a while ago. So we're just going to take a sponge brush, you can see here. Tap it in a little bit, mix it up, and then I'm going to tap it in the dry one so I don't have an overload of paint. And I'm just going to go to town. If you don't like the combination of paint you have going on, you can always add more purple, add more black, stipple it more than you are. We're going to do 2 coats. In the interest of time, I've already pre-painted 4 coasters to go ahead and make. These coasters, as I keep calling them, are actually tiles that I bought at Lowe's off the clearance rack. They turn out pretty cool because they fit together. And I'll show you what I've done with that. It turns out kind of like a puzzle. It's pretty neat. After I get this done being painted. So, the idea behind this show that I'm doing is that every month I'm going to feature a different brewery. And every week we'll feature a different beer from said brewery along with our crafting work. I'm hoping that you enjoy beer as much as I do, and if not, you enjoy crafting as much as I do, because in that way, we're all going to work together pretty well. Like I said, it's going to take 2 coats, so I've just done the one here to show you how they turn out. Like I said, they kind of look like an outer space type thing here. You can get any shaped coasters you want, because thankfully with ceramic tile, they all fit together, because they're made to do that, obviously. So I'm going to bring over now the ones that I have finished already. And what I've done, let me get these over here. What I've done is pre-cut out the side of the Warlock 6-pack carrier, which is actually a 4-pack, so it's a bit more narrow than a 6-pack carrier, to fit across these like a puzzle piece. So I'm going to put these together to show you what I've done. So you can see when you're not using them, rather than just stacking them up and having them be in the way, you can set them out as a conversation piece to talk about what kind of beers you like, or you can use a coffee box, maybe that your K-cups come in, anything that interests you, family photos, any of it will work. Mod Podge is what we're going to use today to seal this, and it works fantastically. I'm using the hard coat. Sure, I bought this at Pack-A-Tans. I've had it for a while. I make a lot of coasters. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a coat on the back of the 6-pack carrier that I've already trimmed out to fit. I use an X-Acto knife. I'll post photos as well. I took photos of the process. So I used my X-Acto knife to cut this out. I'm just going to use the Mod Podge on the back of each of these, paste them down, and then I'm going to do 2 or 3 coats over top, and that will seal the paint down too, because I used an acrylic paint, which obviously is water-based. So the minute you put something on there that's going to cause condensation, you're going to have paint loss, and then it's going to look strange. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of this in our paint tray. I'm going to suggest you put a lot in. You do have to wait 15 minutes between coats, so I'm just going to do 1 coat, you know, for purposes for you to see how it turns out. But it does dry clear. It's a pretty fantastic product. They have a whole line of things. They even have an outdoor version that you can use on furniture if you want to paint designs on furniture without having to worry about it coming off and without using spray paint. It's pretty awesome. So You don't want to put a whole lot of Mod Podge on because it'll soak right through, and then your item that you're pasting down is going to be really hard to work with. If you're using a photo, you might want to actually just put the Mod Podge right on the ceramic tile as opposed to on your item. I'm putting on the item first just so that I can get it placed exactly where I want it to be before everything starts to dry. I'm using a sponge brush. You can really use any kind of brush that you want. The sponge brushes tend to work a little bit better and they rinse out easier because the bristles don't stick together. But it's entirely up to you and what you're comfortable with. And you don't need to worry about if you get, a fingerprint on the front of these because you have glue on your hands. It's all going to come out in the wash once you put the top coats on. Mod Podge is great for using things, or for using on things that you're going to be touching or using a lot of, using them often because it stands the test of time. I have some coasters that I made out of just plain square ceramic tiles about 8 years ago. We still use them every day. They're fantastic. I use Sam Adams 6-pack carriers on those. In case you haven't noticed, we're big fans of craft beer here. So I've amassed quite a few 6-pack carriers. I've also saved some coffee box items that I've cut apart, and I've used those. Those go over really well for people, obviously, who aren't drinkers. But like I said, you can use just about anything. Wrapping paper, tissue paper, anything that you can put glue on that'll stick to something, you can put on a ceramic tile. If you're not a fan of stouts, I will tell you that Southern Tier has a wonderful line of other beers. They have IPAs, they have porters. If you're still into dark beer but you don't like stouts, stout's a little extreme. Takes a special kind of weirdo to drink a stout. You got to be a coffee fanatic, usually. There are other flavors, but I am a huge fan of the stouts, so you'll be seeing a lot of those featured on my show. Okay, so now that we have our items placed, we're just going to go ahead and put the first coat on over top. Like I said, you're going to want to do a thin coat. It'll dry. You want to wait about 15-20 minutes between coats, and you want to make sure that if you're going to have brush strokes, they're nice and even, because they will dry in the surface area of your item. So you'll be able to see them in the right light. So if you don't want to stop mid-stroke like that, and then you're going to leave this big weird spot on your surface, and then you're going to be irritated with yourself. Trust me, I've been there and done it. You're also going to want to make sure that you do this for the sides. I also did paint the edges of these so that they would match when they're pulled apart. That's entirely up to you. But you do want to seal the sides because otherwise they'll start, the cardboard that you put on there will start lifting along the edges and you'll be irritated with yourself about that too. Again, I've been there. So you just want to do a very light coat so it dries quickly, and you're going to want to go back over your brush strokes. Maybe do the edges first if you're worried about leaving marks. You don't want to have to go back over it. Again, this is water soluble, so I'll be able to wash my cutting mat off when I'm done. No worries there. You get on your hands. I've never gotten it in my clothes, so I'm not sure how well it comes out of that, but I can tell you for certain it'll come off my cutting mat and off of my skin. It's basically glorified Elmer's glue. It just works a little bit better for these purposes, so that's what I use. I'm not going to make you sit through watching me do all of these like this because it is time consuming. And I think I'd run out of things to talk about in 15 minutes, and I said I'd keep this one short. So, please keep coming back to see more. We're going to try to do these once a week, and hopefully you guys enjoy this as much as I did. So have a wonderful afternoon, and craft on.